Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. We've got an opposition fan preview with a very special guest, man. Yo, welcome to the stream. How we doing?
Absolute pleasure. That's all I can really say about that one, really. I'm rather annoyed by the fact we're playing City in the FA Cup quarter final. You know, our one chance to get to Wembley in how many years, and it's of course you guys. So, yeah, absolute pleasure, mate. Honestly, so happy right now. I'm so happy.
I'm sensing some serious sarcasm in
I'm absolutely buzzing. You've been to Wembley like what 15 times in the last 2 years or something, and you know we're just waiting, we're biding our time. Maybe next year.
Listen. You say that, but Burnley are doing very, very well under the leadership of our legend captain Vincent Kompany is manager, and I personally have serious high hopes that one day Vincent Kompany will manage Manchester City. I love the guy so much, and he's doing so well at Burnley. And a lot of our viewers may have caught one or two Burnley games because obviously it's Vincent Kompany. You've obviously got Howard Bellis there as well, so naturally City fans will maybe watch a couple of the games. But for the City fans that haven't watched many Burnley games or Burnley at all, what's Vincent Kompany brought to Burnley? What's his style of play like, and how are Burnley sort of playing in the Championship?
How can I say it in a way that it sounds almost unbelievable, but we're playing like City. It sounds ridiculous to say, but the structure of the team in terms of not just passing, in a possession style football, free flowing attack and wingers, and we're playing a 2-3-5 formation essentially with inverted fullbacks in the exact same role that you guys played them in your team. And of course, it's incredible right now in the Championship, but the levels is completely different from the Championship to Premier League, obviously. But going from the almost decade that we had under Sean Dyche, under that style of play, under that recruitment policy, the regime of our previous ownership, and in the last 2 years, we got a new ownership in, then Sean Dyche went last year. We had our entire core foundation of our team from the likes of Nick Pope, Dwight McNeil, Ben Mee, Tarkowski, whatever, right? And they, Chris Wood, they all went. That made Burnley last 5 years. It's not normal to go from a transition that drastic and that heavy, and to be literally by the first game of the year with Vincent Kompany's ideology set in place straight off the bat. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be a Burnley fan this year. And I say this, I truly mean it, because I've seen it every single game this year. Obviously, you may have not to any City fans, but Vincent Kompany's gone all the way to the very top. He's gone to the top, of course, with or without Burnley, probably without Burnley to the very top. But his mentality is he's very proactive in his decision making when it comes to substitutes. His is set up to the majority, if not all, the games this year has been spot on. We've only lost twice all year in the entire league. One was in the third game of the year when our team wasn't ready. And then we lost away to Sheffield United, the second best team in the league as well. And that was literally just because they just basically bullied us in terms of physicality, which we are still quite a young team. Other than that, I guess we lost away at United in the Cup, in the Carabao. No issues with that. Only lost 2-0. We've lost 3 times all season. I can't believe what I've seen this year. So Vincent Kompany, I cannot say any more about him. That's not just incredible, the job that he's done at our club.
It's interesting, something that I'll pick up on and that you just said then is the change in style between like Sean Dyche and what Vincent Kompany's doing now. There's been so many teams over the years that have like played a sort of negative or like a maybe old school brand of football, and then have tried to change their style. I remember Stoke being the perfect example of a team under Pulis who used to be solid in the Premier League, and then by playing long ball football, unattractive football, some people might call it. And then they tried to change and tried to play a nice brand of football, and they just couldn't do it. And now they've been relegated, and now they're not in the Premier League anymore. It's very rare, and I can't think of a team that's done it as successfully as Burnley, because usually it takes years of changes when you could completely change your style of play. And it just seems bizarre to me that Vincent Kompany has managed to do it so quickly. And I heard Neil Warnock, someone who's highly regarded in the game, especially in English Football League, say that Burnley are the best team he's ever seen in the Championship in the last 25 years. And this is coming from a man who is a very, very highly respected manager, like I say, especially in the Championship and in the English Football League. So Vincent Kompany seems to be doing an amazing job. Do you think that he'll continue to play that sort of style of football at the Etihad tomorrow against Manchester City in the FA Cup? Or do you think he'll try and change? Has he shown any signs this season where he does change tactics depending on how he plays? Like you mentioned the 2-0 defeat against United. Did you change tactics there to sort of accommodate maybe a better standard of team in United compared to the Championship, or would he just full send it again?
I don't think he's naive in terms of his tactics. I think that he will adapt it to the team that he's playing against. So when you play against United away or City away, it's different to playing, Luton away or whatever, right? So yeah, I see that he's going to adapt it, but the core foundation of his style of play will be. It will still be there in terms of make sure you pass that from the back, make sure that you are brave with your passing decisions, make sure that you take on a man and the energy, interchangeable positions from your fullbacks to the wingers to the strikers. The striker comes as a 10 or comes as a wide forward or whatever. Ashley Barnes turns into Kevin De Bruyne at points this year. Don't know how that's happened, but it has. Our main strength is our depth. That showed a ton of times this year. But when we went to Old Trafford in the Carabao, we gave them a pretty decent game at points. Like, of course, you're never going to control a full 90 minutes, no matter how good you are. But we had spells of 15 minutes here and 10 minutes here that we actually had a good grip of the game in terms of on the ball. Our decision making was decent at times, but just that final bit of quality that sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't, and we need a lot of luck to go our way against you guys. I've actually got a list here of 3 completely idiotic stats and reasons why we're going to beat City on Saturday, right? So, number 1, Liverpool beat United 7-0 and then lost 1-0 to Bournemouth. You just beat RB Leipzig 7-0.
Yep.
You complete the rest. Number 2, the last time Man City lost at home, I believe, in all comps, was 2-1 to Brentford. Their name begins with a B. Maybe teams that begin with a B are bad luck for Man City this season. And last but not least, the last time Burnley beat Man City away from home was in 1973 in the FA Charity Cup or Shield, whatever it is, right? Guess what was the date of that game? The 18th, boy. And guess what date we play you? The 18th. Checkmate, mate. Checkmate. There you go. It's done. It's dusted. There you go. I can't argue with facts here. Those are but there's. I've been to Etihad, I think 4 times, and each time I've gone there 3 times with 5-0 because we've lost to you 5-0 4 times in a row. Thanks for that, appreciate it. And then I think we also lost to you, I think 3-1 or something or 2-1. So I hate you guys.
Yeah, and you do, and it's funny, right? Because before we started the video, obviously he was a little bit worried, and like you just said, then City you've got a decent record against Burnley recently, but.
To say the least.
Yeah, I think that,
to say the least.
I don't know, like how much of you've seen on Twitter about these of City fans speaking about this Burnley game. To be fair, there's not really been that much because we've been speaking about Leipzig. But in our streams, the viewers, everyone is actually quite scared about this game. Like really kind of worried because Burnley are doing so well in the Championship. There's so much praise for Vincent Kompany. And we haven't been ourselves this season. Yes, obviously, we're getting better. We're on a 9-match unbeaten streak right now, 5 on the bounce, 3 clean sheets in a row. But we are still, I think, in the early stages of doing something here. And Burnley are a team that could come to the Etihad. And Vincent Kompany, if he does have ambitions of becoming City manager at some point, which I'm sure he does, I'm absolutely positive he'll be doing everything he possibly can to get something out of this game. And yeah, I'm actually really, really worried, mate.
Don't give me hope. Just don't even do that. Like I've got zero hope, so that
you've got zero hope.
Don't get hurt. Like mentally, I don't get hurt. Like if you lose 3-0 or whatever, I'm fine with it because I had no hope to begin with. Like we're doing our thing. We can maybe be a record-breaking championship year. The thing is, it's a lose-lose, right? Because let's say we go and we beat you, right? That means that it's even more likely that Kompany will probably probably leave us even sooner. If he impresses so much that he beats City at Etihad, we're probably going to speed up the process of him leaving us in the future. You know what I mean? So it's a lose-lose. Like, go to Wembley, but also he probably is going off, in 2 years' time.
Yeah, I see that. You mentioned Ashley Barnes there. Again, for the City fans that have not seen much or any of Burnley, what players are going to cause City some trouble in this FA Cup tie? Ashley Barnes, you mentioned there.
I mean, Barnes is a different player to what you guys are what everyone knows him as. He's changed his game completely this year, but he's not the main man by any means. Our best player on the ball, our best player that I think is most pivotal for our team is Josh Cullen in midfield. He is the complete engine of our team in the kind of, that kind of number 6, Rodri role that you guys have. He's that for us. He's just so pivotal to get the ball from the defense and make the link from the defense of the midfield and just give it to better players at wings. And when you go to the wings, you've got some tricky ballers in the likes of Anas Arori who can take on players of ease. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how can he do against a team who, can actually defend, unlike the Championship. I want to see how high his level really is, because in Championship he takes on like at least 8 times a game that he just goes past a man, left foot, right foot, easy. I want to see what he can do against you guys. Nathan Teliver now in hot fire form. He's got a hat trick last night, scored 2 goals at the weekend as well. He's in incredible form, energy, direct. He will run his socks off the entire game. He's got a quality as well. So those are our main 3 key players that I think would be pivotal for us to get anything out of this game. But look, man, I'm really looking forward to because I don't really care about the result. I do, somewhat. If we lose, I lose. I care if we lose respectfully. I'm fine with that. But I want to see exactly, because we will be in Premier next year. That's a guarantee. We're like 99.8% guaranteed to go up, right? I want to see what we can do and use this as a tester to see how can we adapt to face these type of teams next year. Because we faced United, who I felt was a decent performance, faced Bournemouth, who of course a low Premier side, beat them 4-2 away. Barely even had to try. Bournemouth had a pretty strong team as well. We outplayed them. So now this is the main test now. Okay, let's see what we can do against proper Prem, top elite opposition.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting. I'm like I say, I'm really looking forward to this game. Muric is a player that some City fans will be familiar with. How's he got on this season? Is he? Do you think he's? You said you think Vincent Kompany is destined to the top. Do you think Muric is destined to the top?
Muric is definitely a player that's caused a lot of debate with some Burnley fans at the start of his career at Burnley, because we've been so blessed with almost near perfect goalkeepers in the last couple of years with Nick Pope and Tom Heaton, both complete professionals with almost a complete perfect package of every aspect of the game. And Muric, he's probably our best passer of the ball in the entire team, which sounds dumb, but he plays as a DM in most games. Like, his average position in like 5 games this year was outside of his box. He just plays as a DM. He just plays like alongside centre backs because we're just so dominant on the ball. We have like 76% average possession all year, right? So you can imagine what we do. So passing wise, distribution, top of the game. He's a Man City academy boy. You can see that from a mile away. He's got a lot better in terms of his management, his commandment of the box, in terms of crosses in. At first, he seemed to be a bit hesitant in terms of when to come out, and can maybe easily, even as a big man, he kind of gets too, like shoved a bit left and right and maybe not be too comfortable in situations. He's got better since then. He's still raw, but for a goalkeeper, you can add a few more years to your game. And I think he's learned a lot this year. So I think he's been fantastic. And of course, there's Bellis as well, Howard Bellis, who sadly picked up an injury back at Bournemouth, and he was fantastic for us. And it's kind of shame because we brought in Ekdal, who's a Swedish international from Sweden, Young Gardens, I believe. And he's coming and we've sadly, unfortunately for us, not missed him. But for him, it's almost like Burnley fans have come to a situation that we're okay if he goes and if he goes back to the summer, you don't get him back. I still think that he's fantastic. I think that he's a guaranteed English. I don't say English captain, but I think that he'll be basically a mainstay in the English national team for years to come, because he's got everything that you need for him.
I absolutely love Howard Bellis. I've watched him develop through the academy for so many years. He's so, like I say, he seems to have everything to his game. He's a fantastic player. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to make it at City because if you look at our centre backs, we've got 5 and they're all absolutely incredible. So I don't think he's going to make it. And that's unfortunately, the situation when you're a Champions League team. You need to have world-class players in every position, and you need to have backups. But I agree. I think Howard Bellis, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him in the summer, because I think he's only got a year left on his contract at City, or maybe 2. So City are going to have to cash in probably this summer I'd like him to go to a Premier League team, whether that's with Burnley or somewhere else. I'm not sure, but I'm very, very sort of curious and excited to see his career develop. Someone that I've tracked through the academy is such a good, wonderful player. And like you say, it's just a shame that he got injured. Clearly, you've not missed him, as you say, but yeah, it would have been great for him to get a full year under his belt.
I mean, I think it's been unfair because he is a fantastic player, and yeah, I do think for the next season in the summer, I do think it may become a bidding war. Every teams like, let's say Everton, for example, or like Leicester. I think Leicester would be a perfect team for him for like that next step up if it isn't Burnley. I doubt we can get him on loan because it is his last year in contract. Have to see what happens there. And would he be maybe too much for us? Like, how much would you guys want for him? Is it 15 mil? Is it 20 mil? I don't know. He's an English under 21 captain. He's got a big value to him. English as well. You know, that adds the tax as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but I still think it's fantastic. And as a question for you guys as well, because I speak to many City fans, have you got, sounds dumb, but like, not just have you kept an eye on Burnley this year because of Vincent Kompany, but have, in your opinion of your view in the City fan base and who you've interacted with, do you think there's some sort of like soft spot maybe for Burnley across this year that you've seen?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've always sort of like kind of rated Burnley anyway. You know what I mean? I've never really held them, even though, you know, we're close, you know what I mean? And I've never really been like a rivals with Burnley or I had any bad blood with them. I've sort of always just been like, you know, kind of calm with them. But yeah, I mean, when your legend of Vincent Kompany, I mean, the guy's a statue outside the stadium. He's loved and adored by all City fans. Yeah, of course. And I think because we have aspirations, or I certainly do, there's still some City fans that would rather see us get an elite manager in, like maybe a Luis Enrique after Pep Guardiola goes. And I understand why City fans say that because they want to be sort of, you know, they don't want to take a risk. And getting Vincent Kompany at Manchester City in 2 years' time, if that is something that happened, even if he did really well with Burnley and got them mid-table, it would still be a risk, right? But for me, I because I'm on the train now. I'm fully committed to. I want Vincent Kompany as the next Manchester City manager. Not under any circumstances. He's got to get Burnley promoted, which obviously, barring a disaster, you guys are going to be promoted to the Premier League. And then I'd like him to. I'm not saying come into the Premier League next season and finish 7th or anything. I'd like him to sort of break the mold of a Championship team.
Do like a Brentford or Brighton.
Yeah, right.
Brentford's a perfect model to kind of replicate.
Exactly. Don't just come up and scrape survival. You know, I think to become the Manchester City manager for Burnley, you need to show me that you've exceeded all expectations. No one expects Burnley to come up next season and finish any higher than maybe 13th, right? So if you get in and around 13th or even manage to get mid-table 10th or something, which, you know, the way that Burnley are playing, it shouldn't be off the cards. Again, Neil Warnock said this is the best team he's ever seen in the Championship in the last 25 years. Then I think you can seriously have a conversation and say, look, this guy should be given the tools. I think he'd come in, he'd have time. Because, again, this is something that City fans are going to have to understand. When Pep Guardiola leaves, it's not going to be plain sailing, right? We're not just going to continue winning Premier League after Premier League, winning Carabao Cup, FA Cups, and whilst we've not won the Champions League, we're getting far in the Champions League, right? We're getting to quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals on season by season. That's probably not likely to happen. We probably won't win the Premier League at the first time of asking. We might get knocked out in the group stage or the last 16 of the Champions League. Why? Because it'll be such a massive shock. And if you get Vincent Kompany in, he'll have credit in the bank. Whereas if you get Luis Enrique in, he's getting no time. He's getting no time because he's an elite manager. He'll be expected to hit the ground running from day one. So I think for me, it would be perfect. And for that reason, to cut a long story very short, that's why, yes, I am looking at Burnley and I'm hoping Burnley do well, because if Burnley does well, Vincent Kompany does well. And that's what I need in order to keep backing the train that I'm on, which is Vincent Kompany as the next Manchester City manager, right? And of course, you've got Harwood Bellis on loan as well. So I guess it's the same for you. If you have players or an ex-legend at your club that, you know, takes a manager job, or you've got loan players out and they're promising. It's the same. We've got like Callum Doyle at Coventry, right? Really highly rated player, you know, incredible footballer, and I'm sure he's going to have a career at the top level. I'm looking at him. So then again, I'm hoping Coventry do well because you back the players that are on loan, right? And I'm just really excited, man. I'm really excited for Vincent Kompany, and speaking to you today, the things that you've said, it's got me gassed. And I'm interested to know, actually, from the City fans watching this, you have to leave us a comment in the comment section below. Are you ready for Vincent Kompany, or do you still think it's time for maybe a Luis Enrique when Pep Guardiola leaves, which is probably going to be in 2 years? Although, to be fair, bro, I've been saying Pep Guardiola is going to be leaving in 2 years for like the last 5 years. So it's pretty crazy. Before we wrap up, I want to speak to you about Riyad Mahrez, a nemesis of Burnley, a nemesis. I've got his stats up here, right? He's not scored more goals against any other football club in Europe, in the Premier League, in France, than Burnley Football Club. He's played against you guys 14 times. He's won 11, drawn 1, lost 2, 8 goals, 2 assists. That's 10 goal involvements in 14 games. I mean, he just loves playing against Burnley, right? I mean, why are you guys just unable to deal with Riyad Mahrez?
I mean, that's in the Sean Dyche era, those kind of tricky flair wingers with pace and unpredictability. It's just was our kryptonite for so many years. Remember, like Wilfred Zaha at Palace had the same kind of effect on us. And yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. I completely forgot about Mahrez. Now you just reminded me that he's definitely playing it. So thanks for that. I'm saying that you can list anyone in your team and it'll be an absolute nightmare. But yeah, Mahrez's score is probably going to be very likely. Oh God, why do you have to remind me of him? I forgot about him completely. My mind's been so much on Haaland, but Haaland may not even play, to be fair. Maybe he'd be Alvarez potentially, which I guess could be kind of fortunate. I don't know at this stage because he's unbelievable as well. So yeah, it's scary. But when it comes to Kompany, I would just to go back to that, just to kind of finish off on that. I can see Kompany potentially leaving us in 2 years' time. Like we're going Prem, stay up, then the next year kind of be, have that second year in Prem. And I think after that, I think he'll join a sort of next stepping stone club, like a West Ham, like a Leicester, like a maybe even, I doubt to be a top 6 team. I don't think it'd be any of the top 6 other than City. So I think it'd be a tier below. And then if he does a good job there, gets into Europe, whatever, then I think because with City, you've got to have the perfect manager with the perfect credentials and experience to get that job. It has to be someone with Kompany is going right to the very top, but I think to be at City, I think that take time. And it's a nightmare for us because we are loving it, we're enjoying it, and we feel like we're so grateful to have him. But it always feels like it's just an inevitability that every single week, every single month, there's just going to be non-stop news and links about him going away. That, Belgium, for example, they had a job opportunity like a month ago and it was non-stop links. And there's always West Ham, Moyes potentially could be going. And people saying, Kompany to West Ham. But I think Kompany, as you will know, is a man of principle. He's not going to leave midway through a year. He's not going to leave without it being known before. So I think if he does leave, it'd be known months beforehand that at the end of this year, that's when he'll take his next step. Yeah. And that's what I like to think. I think that's what you have to think. So yeah, I do. Kompany is definitely a man with many principles. I believe that before he joined Burnley, he had a verbal agreement, but not a contractual one with Burnley. But in between that, before he signed for us, became a manager, Borussia Mönchengladbach offered out a contract saying that we want to at Germany, we want to at that club. And I think I don't think they're in UCL, they used to be, but they were in Europa League. And he said, I gave my word to Burnley. So I've already made my plans. Even though there were nothing on the table, it was just word of mouth. He stuck by his word. So that says a lot about the person that Vincent Kompany is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a top man. He's an absolute top man. And that's why, if he does become a top manager, it's just going to be so great to have him at City if indeed he does become the City manager. Buzzing. Well, there we go. Do you think Burnley will get a result here, or do you think it's going to be City going through to the semis?
I like to think, if I'm trying to do it with my head more than anything else, I like to think that we can actually score the first goal in the game. Because we did that, I think, back in 17-18 with the FA Cup game. Ashley Barnes scored in the first half. It was 1-0 up at half-time. I was there at the Etihad that game. And, I think we went on to lose like 4-1 or something, right? But I think something like that may happen again. I think we may have a scare for you guys in the first half. Nathan tell us something. I think we go 1-0 up. This is how I like to think it may go down because, City, sometimes you can just be a bit just weird. Sometimes that is possible. And hopefully we may catch you on that weird day. But I think in the end, you just sub on 18,000 world-class players or something, and then eventually you may just break us down, and then you may go on and win 3-1. That's just, in my mind, that's what I'm expecting. If we go for it, and see how can we fare against you guys, because we will be playing you guys against next year. If we have a good go at it and have a good performance, that's all I'm happy for. So if we score a goal, it's a bonus.
I think you're right in the first goal is where, because if City get ahead, it's very rare that we end up dropping points or in this competition go out. So if Burnley do get the first goal, that could be crucial. I think if City get the first goal, I think we will go on and win the game. But I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, man, for coming on. Guys, I'll put the links in the description, so make sure you go check them out, give them a follow and all that kind of stuff. It's the Twitch streams as well. I see it. Is that a thing? Twitch streams or YouTube?
I don't do Twitch too much anymore. I'm just solely YouTube right now, my friend.
Just solely YouTube, yeah. I'm liking your new content, by the way, man. It's good content, isn't it? So,
thank you, man. FIFA's awful, so I can't keep doing FIFA. So,
mate, I'm playing FIFA at the moment on my Twitch, man, and it's fucking pain. It's really it's hard, man. It's hard, but yeah, guys, I'll put the links in the description. Go give him a follow. He's been very generous with his time, man. 25 minutes in it, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure you drop a like on it. Comment down below what do you reckon is going to happen in this game, and do you want to see Vincent Kompany at Manchester City in 2 years' time taking over Pep Guardiola? Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we will catch you in the next one. See you later.